Asia Times, 8 January, 2024, India-China confrontation is accelerating the race for Pakistani stealth fighters. China utilizes Pakistan as a weapon in her all-out war on the Indian subcontinent to strike India and keep it distracted with its evil plans. Pakistan is about to receive China's Shenyang FC-31 Gyrfalcon 5th-generation fighter jets, which might be a turning point in the acrimonious arms race in South Asia between China, India, and Pakistan. Chief of the Pakistan Air Force, PAF, Zaheer Baber Sidhu, stated that the Chinese-built fighters, often referred to as F-60s or J-21 Snowy Owls, should soon go into service, though he did not specify when. According to the Defense News story, Sidhu spoke at an induction ceremony for new military hardware, including K-10C Firebird aircraft built in China. The chief did not specify the number of FC-31s Pakistan intended to purchase. In international markets, China aims to compete with the US-made F-35 and 4th-generation plus European fighters with its lower-cost 5th-generation fighter program, the FC-31/J-35. However, the effectiveness of Pakistan's acquisition in counterbalancing India's evolving capabilities will depend on unanswered questions regarding the level of stealth achievable in practice, the sensors and sensor fusion in the aircraft when operational, and the delivery time, according to the Defense News report. The report also raised concerns about the necessity of acquiring FC-31s when Pakistan is extremely cash-strapped, and its economy is in disarray. It implies that the country's JF-17, J-10, and F-16 aircraft are sufficient for air superiority operations against India. Pakistan is one of the few nations, including Bangladesh, Myanmar, North Korea, and a few African nations, that have chosen to acquire Chinese military aircraft. Pakistan is a noteworthy buyer of Chinese fighter jets. The War Zone revealed in March 2022 that Pakistan had acquired its first J-10 multi-role fighter jets manufactured in China. The acquisition is intended to improve the F's capabilities in the wake of the Indian Air Force's (IAF) airstrike in February 2019 on an alleged terrorist training camp in Balakot, Pakistan. According to the War Zone article, India's purchase of French-made Dassault Rafale multi-role jets was the reason behind the F's decision to acquire J-10s. The J-10 will close some of the strategic gap with India with its superior active radar-guided PL-15 air-to-air missiles and active electronically scanned AESA radar. In the past, China and Pakistan collaborated to build the junk fighter JF-17 light fighter, a strategic partnership that may eventually improve China's low-cost performance in international fighter aircraft markets. As of October 2021, only Pakistan, Myanmar, and Nigeria had 145 junk fighter 17 airframes in service. Benjamin Brimelow reported this information in a November 2022 piece for Business Insider. The junk fighter 17 first flew in 2003. By the end of the decade, there will be 185 airframes, according to Brimelow, making the junk fighter -17 the most widely utilized low-quality Chinese fighter jet in the world. He says that although China was the only place where junk fighter 17s were produced initially, Pakistan currently has most of the aircraft, with 42% being constructed in China and 58% in Pakistan. According to Brimelow, the junk fighter 17 is more affordable than any 4th-generation fighter currently on the market, costing between $15 and $25 million. This makes it a desirable choice for underfunded air forces in developing nations that cannot purchase Western aircraft. Brimelow does point out that the junk fighter 17 is better suited for low-intensity conflicts like insurgencies or primary air defense against adversaries with comparable equipment, as opposed to being built to compete directly with 5th-generation fighters like the US-built F-22 and F-35. Also, see low MiG-21 capabilities. China has performed poorly on international markets overall, but its sales of fighter jets to Pakistan are a bright spot. Asia Times. They were reported in January 2022 that Beijing's unwillingness to sign cost-sharing agreements, the absence of significant strategic allies, and the reluctance of possible allies to form strategic alliances with China through fighter jet purchases are the leading causes of China's meager fighter aircraft sales. But with the sale of high-tech weapons, China might now be integrating Pakistan into its military logistical supply chain. Following the US's lead, China might adopt Pakistan as a model for marketing its weapons, understanding that customers would gain access to more modern weaponry, better pricing, and technical support if they joined a Chinese-dominated logistical train. Pakistan's long-running war with India has left it more and more reliant on China for relatively inexpensive modern weapons, a development that some fear could allow China to dictate Pakistan's defense and foreign policy. Pakistan is, therefore, broadening the sources of its fighter jets. According to an Asia Times story from February 2022, Pakistan and Turkey are working together to create a fifth-generation stealth fighter to replace their outdated F-16 fleets built in the United States. An aircraft with twin engines that can perform several missions, including air-to-surface and air-to-air, is the Turkish Fighter Experimental (DFX) project. Turkish Aerospace Industries (TAI) published video footage of the TFX during its early development in November 2022. If at all, it's unclear how the FC-31 acquisition will affect the partnership. India is becoming alarmed by Pakistan's modernizing air force, funded by China, prompting New Delhi to accelerate its fighter development. Anil Chopra stated in an article published in the Eurasian Times this month that the Light Combat Aircraft Mark 1A, LCA-Mk-1A, of India is scheduled to be introduced this year, and the companion LCA-Mk-2 is scheduled to debut in flight sometime in 2025. The Advanced Medium Combat Aircraft, AMCA, India's first domestically produced fifth-generation fighter, is expected to be introduced in 2028 to 2029. According to Chopra, there are two variations of the AMCA, the Stealth AMCA Mk-2 and the partly Stealth AMCA Mk-1, with the latter expected to take flight by 2032 and the former by 2028-29. As a stopgap, Chopra proposes that India purchase about 2 squadrons of F-35s, participate in the Russian Su-57 or Su-75 programs, or join the fifth-generation systems developed by Japan or Europe. According to him, India's optimum course of action is to quicken the AMCA program and purchase about 36 F-35 aircraft.